Very good morning, dear children. Today we are going to complete with chapter 17, Introduction to Biotechnology. Some cells in the body of living organisms, they are called to be totipotent. That is, if provided with proper environment, a new organism can grow from these cells. It was realized that with the help of this property of the cells and their genetically controlled biochemical processes, varieties of high yielding crops and new species of animals and even various vaccines could be produced. This gave rise to a new branch in biology called biotechnology. With the help of this technique, it has become possible to produce plants and animals bearing some new characteristic in addition with the natural ones that they possess. It uses are in the production of cash crops, improvement of the cash crops, increase in the abilities of plants to withstand stresses that are related to the environment, diagnosis of diseases, cancer research, even production of artificial skin in the laboratories, etc. Biotechnology basically includes techniques of genetic engineering and tissue culture. So this today what we are going to be learning, that is divided into two main parts. First part is where we are going to be learning about biotechnology, that is tissue culture and genetic engineering. And the second part is where we are going to discuss about agro-complementary occupation, in which we will discuss animal husbandry, poultry farming and sericulture. So first, we will start with biotechnology and we will learn about tissue culture and genetic engineering. So let's start with tissue culture. Tissue culture is where tissues are removed from the plant and they are grown separately in the laboratory in test tubes or in petri dishes, which are being provided by medium that are high in nutrients. So the nutrients are absorbed by the tissues and from them an entirely new plant can be made. Tissue culture has helped a lot because it can help in growing those plants on a large scale which can bear fruits, flowers which are of excellent quality. Fully grown plants can be produced in very short duration. In a bioreactor, cells can be grown in a more nutritive medium and they can be protected from harmful microorganisms or pathogens. Bioreactors are useful for producing plantlets on a very large scale. Large number of seedlings plantlets can be produced in a short time, which are disease free. Even rare and endangered plants can be grown by tissue culture technique and therefore they can be protected from extinction. Genetic engineering is where genetically modified crops are made. Genetically modified crops, they are produced by introducing changes in the DNA of the natural crops. So normally such varieties are not found in nature. New varieties are therefore made artificially and different useful characters can be introduced in such varieties. Naturally occurring varieties which are there, they cannot withstand environmental stress like frequently changing temperature or famine or climate, etc. Genetically modified crops can grow in such adverse conditions and they can even withstand environmental stresses. As the GM crops or genetically modified crops, they are resistant to insects, pests, pathogens. This helps us to avoid the use of harmful chemicals like pesticides, etc. Due to the use of seeds of GM crops, there is improvement in the nutritive value and also decrease in the loss of crops. Agri-tourism. The plantlets of flowering, medicinal, ornamental, vegetable plants and fruit trees that are produced by tissue culture, They are produced on a large scale and then they are planted in sufficient land that is available. This is called as agri-tourism, and by growing such plants, a self-sufficient agri-tourism center can be developed. This is where you can have organic vegetables and fruits, you can have medicinal plant garden, you can have a butterfly garden, you can even have shade giving local or exotic attractive plants grown on the land that is available. People normally visit such places and it is of great attraction. Even selling plantlet seedlings, fruits, vegetables at such places can be quite profitable. Agro complementary occupation. Agro complementary occupation basically is the business that are complementary to agriculture and which generate supplementary income for the farmers. All that comes under agro complementary occupation. So in this first we are going to discuss about animal husbandry. In India, animal husbandry is practiced for milk production and for using the cattle as helping farming operations. Cows, buffaloes are raised for milk, and bulls and male buffaloes are for pulling the heavy loads. Local Indian varieties as well as exotic varieties are kept for their milk. However, just giving them whatever you get from the agricultural remain is not important. A balanced diet, that is, which includes all constituents of food, should be given to cattle. It must include fiber rich food, fodder, and also sufficient water. The cattle shed should be clean and dry with proper ventilation and should also have a roof. The cattle should be regularly vaccinated. If all these things are followed, it is ensured to have high yield of milk. Poultry farming. Rearing of egg and meat yielding chicken is called as poultry farming. In this, there are two types, layers and broilers. Layers are where chickens are raised. All the chickens that are raised for eggs are called layers, and the chickens that are raised for meat are called as broiler. In this, again, there is hybrid. Indian varieties are also used, exotic varieties are also used, and they're even crossed between each other so that we may develop the ability to withstand high temperature. In this also, whatever byproducts are obtained from agriculture, that can be used as the poultry field. Sericulture. Silkworm or moths, they are reared for production of silk. Bombyx mori is the most commonly used variety for this purpose. The life cycle of the silk moth consists of 4 stages, namely egg, larva, pupa, and adult. Thousands of eggs are deposited by the female moth, and these eggs are incubated artificially to shorten the incubation period. Now what does that mean? It means that there is specific temperature that is required for the development and hatching of the egg. That temperature is given artificially to those eggs. Larvae hatch out of the eggs, and these larvae which are hatching out, they are released onto the mulberry plants. The larvae, they get nourished by feeding on the mulberry leaves, and after feeding for 3 or 4 days, they move on to the branches of the mulberry plant. Silk thread is formed from the secretion of their salivary gland. The larva, it spins this thread around itself to form a cocoon. The cocoon may be spherical in shape. In the cocoon, the larva gets developed into pupa, and pupa ultimately turns into an adult, breaks the cocoon, and releases out. In the life cycle, the cocoon stage is where silk can be removed out, and that is why 10 days before the pupa turns into an adult, all the cocoons are transferred into boiling water. Due to boiling water, the pupa dies in the cocoon and silk fibers they become loose. These fibers they are unwound, they are processed and reeled, and various kinds of fabric is woven from the silk thread. So, today what we have discussed is we have discussed about tissue culture and genetic engineering, and we also discussed about animal husbandry, poultry farming, and sericulture. I hope this is clear to all.